Welcome back to Fantasyland Adventures. This is a podcast where we're going to dive into all things Disney and Universal. It's going to include some news, some updates, and some of our own tips and stories from the parks. My name is Jamie. I'm a dad of two Disney-loving little girls that are ages, as of right now, 5 and 2. And I'm also a travel agent with such a time as this, a travel agency. It's been a little while since we've recorded an episode, but we are officially back at it, and there is a bunch of news to catch up on. So let's get started. First, over in Walt Disney World, we're going to kick things off at the Magic Kingdom because there is a ton going on right now. First up, Beacon Barrel is the brand new Pirates-themed lounge that is officially opens on the 29th, so in just a couple of days. Theming for this looks really cool. It's going to be right next to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, which means it's going to be the perfect spot to relax after riding Pirates. As of right now, reservations have been kind of tough to get, but I'm thinking as soon as that hype kind of dies down of a brand new restaurant, hopefully things will get a little bit easier to get. That being said, we are going to try to hit that place up when we go in December, and we'll let you guys know what we're feeling about it and how things are. Over on Main Street USA, the new nighttime parade, Disney Starlight, has officially debuted. Not seen it yet ourselves. We haven't been down to the park since, I guess it was June, maybe. From what I've seen, it looks really cool. The floats look great. Lots of great characters, good music, and it seems like one of those parades that kind of just brings back the Disney magic, kind of like the nighttime electrical parade used to do. So you are going to need to plan around that for like your fireworks viewing and all that kind of stuff that you want to do. The Halloween season is in full swing now. I know it's August, but it's in full swing. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is now running through the end of October. It's one of our favorite events of the year. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get to it this year, but it's a great event. You're going to somewhere between $150 to $200 for a ticket. And you're going to get special parades, trick-or-treating, character meet and greets with some rare characters. The big one right there with the rare character is Jack and Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. That one gets up to like a 3-hour wait sometimes. It just depends on the day. And of course, you got the Boo-to-You parade and the fireworks, the special fireworks. Something to keep in mind that if you are visiting Walt Disney World, and particularly the Magic Kingdom, while any of these after-hours parties are going on like Christmas or Halloween, that the parks do close early for day guests. It's kind of a catch-22. You can go into Magic Kingdom those days and you can normally get a lot of things done because not everybody's going to be heading into those parks to be able to get kicked out at 6 o'clock. There are no nighttime shows for your day guests, so that's just something to keep in mind, but you can get a lot done. Typically, wait times are lower. There are still tickets available for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So if you want to make a trip down to the Walt Disney World Resort to experience that, make sure you reach out to us and we can make that happen. We've also got some updates on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Disney is refreshing a lot of what we already know and love about that ride, but they're also adding some new features, like some different lighting on some of the pools and the mountain stuff inside the caves to make it look kind of fluorescent. And they tease that there's more coming soon. They haven't announced anything more than that, but we will keep you posted as updates continue to come in for Big Thunder. And finally, for the Magic Kingdom news, I know we were just talking about Halloween, but Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party is going to run November 7th through the 21st of 2025, and tickets are on sale for that now, as well as Jollywood Nights over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. If you've never experienced any of these after-hours events for the Christmas season, I like it more than the Halloween party personally. You've got Snow, aka Snope, coming down on Main Street. You've got a fantastic parade. There's great fireworks, and it's just a whole nother level to what Disney does for the Disney Magic as far as incorporating Christmas time. You're going to get specialty foods, again, characters, Santa Claus will be there, all that good stuff. We're going to go into a little bit more depth of the Christmas party as things get a little bit closer. We are planning on attending that as well in December. So as we hop on over to Epcot, that place is always busy with festivals, no exception right now. Food and Wine Festival is going to kick off on August the 28th and is going to run through November the 22nd, 2025. You're going to be able to get a ton of different food options. Everything in World Showcase, you're going to have different food booths and drink options. You're going to have Flavors of Fire, Flavors of Florida. There's going to be a bunch of different booths that you can try all sorts of different cuisine around the parks. And it's like little, I don't want to say snack size, but definitely not full meals, so you can enjoy stuff from the different countries and the different booths without getting too crazy full. They've also announced their Eat to the Beat concert lineup this year, and it's a great one. Just some of the new acts they've got is Bowling for Soup. That's one that I would love to be able to go down there and see. Unfortunately, we're not going to make that happen, but it would be fun. The Beach Boys, Jordan Sparks, Ben Rector, KT Tunstall, and the Wanted 2.0 are all the new acts. They've got plenty of other acts, and we can kind of list those down in the show notes and maybe leave a link so you can check out those acts. So again, if you want to go down there and see these festivals, it's the perfect time to book. So lots of great options, whether you're into, rock, pop, or something more throwback. Right after Food and Wine, the Festival of the Holidays is going to take over. There is a couple of days in between there. The Festival of the Holidays is going to be on the 28th of November, while Food and Wine ends on the 22nd. So you got a little less than a week in there. And Festival of the Holidays is going to run from the 28th of November through the 30th of December. That's a great time to visit Epcot too. It's really cool to be able to go into the different countries, and they're going to retell their story of Christmas. There's different tales and music and all that good stuff. Plus, again, you're going to be able to meet Santa Claus and enjoy all that the holidays have to offer over there at Epcot. And for thrill seekers, Test Track 3.0 has reopened. It's not completely reinvented, but the upgrades look really nice. It's got all the things you know and love. They've just changed some of the way the cars look and all that kind of stuff. And I've not been able to ride it since it's been reopened. The reviews look really positive, and it's definitely going to be on the list of things to do next time we go to Epcot. As we move on to Hollywood Studios, right across the Skyliner or the river, or you can walk, Muppets Land's officially closed to make way for Monstropolis, which is going to be the new Monsters, Inc. themed land. Disney is kind of going full thread into this one. There's going to be a door coaster, one of the first of its kind. It's going to be suspended. Really looking forward to that opening. Again, not a huge roller coaster person, but I know a lot of people that are, and I think they're going to have a great time with that one. And you're going to have some restaurants and probably, if I had to guess, some character meet and greets with some of the Monsters, Inc. characters. And really, I think it's a really good fit for that park. They've already got Pixar Place, and you're going to add some more Pixar stuff in there. Kind of sad to see the Muppets go as far as a nostalgia kind of thing. That being said, it's been a minute since we've done Muppet Vision 3D. But the Muppets are still going to have a home, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. The villains are also getting a spot there as we kind of wait for the Villains Land to open at Magic Kingdom. If you have been to Hollywood Studios recently, you know where the Lightning McQueen Racing Academy was. That is no more. That is going to be the villain show. It's called Unfairly Ever After, and it's a stage show featuring the Disney villains. It's up and running now, and again, we're planning on seeing that in December. When we go in December, we're going to be doing Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, plus the party. And I've heard really good things about it. I've heard it's fantastic. The other show that is now back open is The Little Mermaid. It's a musical adventure. Little Mermaid show there has been closed since COVID, basically. So it's been closed for a while. So they've now upgraded and updated this show, and it is now up and running. I've heard really good things about that as well. Looking forward to checking that out. And then we're kind of looking ahead. Sometime in 2026, we haven't heard a date yet. Star Wars Launch Bay, which is right next door to where The Little Mermaid is, and Animation Courtyard, I'm sorry. That's going to be transformed into the Animation Experience, and it's going to be modeled after the Animation Building out in Los Angeles, where they make all of the Disney animated features and all that good stuff that you know and love with the Sorcerer hat and all that good stuff. And you're going to be able to walk through some different interactive exhibits, see some portraits come to life. Like if you've ever seen the Once Upon a Studio short on Disney Plus, if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend you go see it. It's fantastic. It's a great short. The portraits in that short inside the animation building come out, and they interact with each other, and they have their own little story. So that's going to be kind of based off of that from what I've been able to see. And yeah, you're going to even be able to draw some of your own characters. The animation experience over in Disneyland, you can draw your own characters there. You can also draw your own characters over at Rafiki's Planet Watch. at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I'm not sure if that's going to remain once this opens. We'll kind of just have to see how that goes. They might be able to incorporate something else over there. But I think this is going to really be a good addition to Hollywood Studios. And to me, it fits a little bit better. Really, there's very rarely a whole lot of people over at Star Wars Launch Bay, especially now that you have Star Wars Galaxy's Edge over in the same park. It just kind of feels a little bit split up. So I like them bringing this in there personally. And another big one, we were talking about the Muppets. Rock and Roller Coaster is getting a full Muppets Electric Mayhem overlay. The iconic guitar that's outside, I know a lot of people love that. That is going to stay. Just going to get a new paint job with like some psychedelic looking stuff. And you're going to join the Electric Mayhem gang with backstage passes and race across Hollywood in a high-speed limo to make it to the big concert. So basically it's staying pretty much the same with just the Muppets overlay. So Aerosmith will not be there anymore. And finally, at Animal Kingdom, not a ton to update there. They are obviously working on taking out Dino USA. So as construction continues down there, the dinosaur ride is going to be open through the end of 2025. So if you want to be able to ride that before it closes, we're going to make sure to get you down there, because by the end of the year, it could be January 1. I don't think it'll be that early. If I had to guess, it'll be sometime middle of January, early February when they kind of shut that one down. But it could be any time after 2025. So you can go down there and ride Dinosaur one last time before that is transformed into Tropical Americas, which is going to have the Encanto attraction, and Dinosaur is going to be changing into the Indiana Jones attraction. The new Zootopia Better Zoogether show is going to open on November 7th in the Tree of Life Theater right under the Tree of Life, which is replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug. And it looks like along with that show, there's going to be some meet and greets for Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. And I know a lot of the kids are going to like that one. Zootopia is a fan favorite in our house, and I know it's a fan favorite in a lot of other houses. That about does it for Walt Disney World right now. For as far as resorts, they are still building the new resort over there next to Fort Wilderness. No opening date for that one yet or anything like that. We'll kind of keep you posted. Maybe I'll try to grab some footage next time we go down there and try to see how things are going. So yeah, that's going to wrap up Walt Disney World. We're going to go across the country to Disneyland. A big change, and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. I'm really curious to know how this is going to work. For Disneyland Resort hotel guests starting January 5th, 2026, they're doing away with early entry. So no more 30 minutes early if you're a resort guest. Instead, they're going to give you one lightning lane for a multi-pass lightning lane attraction. They don't have all the details yet. Like, I don't know if you're going to get one per day, if you're just going to get one, if you're going to be able to book those 7 days out, 3 days out, the day you get there. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work. They said they're going to release details as it gets closer. But I really like early entry, so I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. I'm kind of curious to know. As of right now, I'm hoping Walt Disney World does not take that route. I'm hoping this isn't like a little test. I like early entry, especially for families who don't want to purchase the lightning lanes and the multi-pass and all that kind of stuff. The only thing that I can think of is Disneyland is a lot more of a locals park, so where rope drop and that early entry to me may not be quite as important as it is over at Walt Disney World, where you got people coming from all over the world to come down there. So we'll see. I mean, I'm just curious to keep my eye on that and see how things kind of come to fruition. The good news with all that being said is that the 2026 Disneyland packages are already open for booking. So if you're thinking about heading out to California, to the place that started it all, where Walt walked and his apartment and all that good stuff, it's a great time to start making those plans. For Disney Cruise Line, hurricane season always brings some uncertainty. Kind of going through right now with Hurricane Aaron, but Disney Cruise Lines adjusted a bunch of their itineraries to avoid that hurricane, which is good news for guests. And it shows that Disney is really working to protect your vacation experience, even if it's not, the original ports of call that you had originally planned on booking. You still are going to see some great ports and more than likely get your cruise off without a hitch. We went in hurricane season last year. Unfortunately, we didn't have to reroute any of our ports of call. There was no active hurricanes when we were, but For the most part, I've only seen a handful, like I think it might have been 2 or 3 a couple of years ago that were canceled for a hurricane. And that was more because it came through Port Canaveral versus the hurricanes out in the ocean. They couldn't get out of the port. So that was the big thing there. Big thing for Disney Cruise Line is they have lowered their deposits from 20% down to 10%, making it easier to lock in your trip without such a big upfront cost. So if you want to kind of book a Disney cruise, now's the time to do it because you can pay a little bit less. And there's no notation of this going anywhere. This looks like the new normal. So I kind of like that. You don't have to put quite as much down. And as of right now, there's a bunch of Disney promos going on right now. And I'm also running my own promo for our agency, and I'm going to give you a little bit of extra spending money if you can check out before September 27th at any of the Disney destinations, whether it be Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney World Adventures by Disney, any of the Disney destinations. If you want to make a last-minute trip, be sure to reach out and we'll get that plan for you and you can get some extra spending cash. Moving over to Universal Orlando, things are just as exciting over there, especially with Epic Universe. It's now fully open, and there's been a big update for Battle of the Ministry and Minecart Madness. They are both now accepting Universal Express Pass. That's a huge benefit for anyone who doesn't want to wait in these long lines, and it's also a huge perk for those guests staying at the premier level resorts because that's going to be included in your resort stay. You're going to get your tickets and all that kind of stuff, and that Express Unlimited Pass is going to be included. You're not going to pay any extra. And you can look, you're up to like $225, $250 per person per day value. So it can really be worth staying at those premier resorts, especially if you want to ride a bunch of rides at all the parks. Halloween Horror Nights is getting ready to start back up on August the 29th. It's going to be running on select nights through November 2nd, 2025. If you love haunted houses and scare zones, it's a great event to hit, and there are tickets still available. We'll drop a list of the houses down in the show notes and everything. We're not going to go through all that today, but it's a great event. A lot of people, we've never personally been, we're not huge horror people. I would like to maybe go one time just to be able to experience it, but everybody that I know that loves that kind of stuff absolutely loves HHN, and it's fantastic. As soon as HHN's over, or shortly thereafter, holiday season is going to be right around the corner, and Universal celebrates the holidays fantastic, and they're going to be from just November 21st to December 31st, 2025. They're going to have great parades with like Macy's-style balloons, and of course they're going to have Grinchmas, where you're going to be able to meet the Grinch, and they also have a breakfast with the Grinch. So great place to be during the holiday season. You can even make like a split stay, do some time at Disney, do some time at Universal. And just like with Disney, I'm offering a little bit of bonus. This one, the dates are a little bit different. If you check out before the end of the year, I'll give you a little bit of extra spending money at Universal as well. So go ahead and reach out to me. Take advantage of these savings that are already there, and then I'm going to throw in a little bit extra for you guys. Oh, so that is going to pretty much do it for the news for this week. So we're going to do a short little topic of my top 5 rides for kids under the age of 5 at Magic Kingdom. Now, a little caveat to this is Disney does not rank rides by age. They rank rides by height. Most of these are going to be no height requirement, and I'll kind of go through each one. So my oldest is 5 right now. So we've been doing rides for people under 5 years old for the last 5 years, basically. We've been going since she was about 9 months old was our first trip. And we take at least two or three trips down there between the parks and the cruise. So we've been able to ride these experiences and do all this stuff and know what's best and what our opinion is what's best for the attractions that's consistently deliver to that age group. Starting with number 5, Dumbo the Flying Elephant. Not my favorite ride. I'm not a huge spin ride person. I kind of get motion sick, but it's classic. It's simple. For a lot of families, it's a must-do. I will ride it. I can only normally ride it once, where my kids can ride it a couple times. You're going to hop on the back of Dumbo, fly up over Fantasyland, and you're going to get some really cool views. If you've been to Disney a lot and you know how that works, you can ride that during the fireworks, and it should be a pretty cool view. Number 4, going to stick over there in Storybook Circus, is going to be the Barnstormer. This is a really good entry-level roller coaster. Now, this one does have a 35-inch height requirement. I want to say our daughter was about 3 when she was tall enough to ride that one. But obviously, that all depends on the child and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to have some quick fun, some drops based on Goofy, so it's Goofy Sky School. Really good first coaster before they move up to something like maybe Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or even Slinky Dog Dasher at Hollywood Studios. My number 3, Pirates of the Caribbean. Our girls really like this one. It's a slow-moving boat ride. For the most part, it does have a small drop kind of at the beginning where you drop down into the Pirates lair, basically, and it's got some great music. It's got some really cool animatronics, all the classic Disney details, the smells, all that kind of stuff, and there's no height requirement, so your entire family is going to be able to enjoy that ride together. Speaking of boat rides, number 2 for me, It's a Small World. Our oldest, this has been her favorite since she was 9 months old. She's been mesmerized by it. She absolutely loves it. The song kind of gets a little bit of a bad taste in people's mouth. I don't think it's too bad. They've actually added a new verse at the end. The only time that you really get quote-unquote stuck on a normal occasion, obviously rides can break down, but at the end you kind of sit for a little bit because they have a unload and offload area, and it can kind of bog down a little bit there. So you hear it a little bit there, but it's really not bad. It's got a lot of color and, again, the music, and it's really good for those young kids when it's in the AC, so you get a nice break. Number 1 for me, The People Mover. This is one of my favorites, and I'm obviously not 5, I'm 32. It's got to be number 1. It's relaxing. You're just kind of hanging out, and it gives you really great views of Tomorrowland. You're going to go see Cinderella Castle. This is another one that I think if you've seen the fireworks from like Main Street / the hub, you can ride this one during the fireworks, and I think you're going to get some really cool views. And it's really cool to be able to see. You get to see in some of the different attractions. You're going to see inside like Space Mountain, inside Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, all those Tomorrowland things. Got great narration. And normally, as long as it's not too crowded, you don't even have to get off if you want to ride it again. You can just keep on going around. And we're going to go through a couple of honorable mentions. First off is going to be Haunted Mansion. Our kids love it. It's not really scary. It can give spooky vibes, especially at the beginning. Kind of some history behind that. One of the Imagineers, there's 2 Imagineers that designed it. One wanted it scary, one wanted it kind of silly and funny and all that kind of stuff. So basically what they did was they combined the 2. So the first half is kind of spooky and scary, and the second half is more whimsical and funny, and you've got singing and all that kind of stuff. And a little known fact, Grim Grinning Ghosts is the theme song for the Haunted Mansion, and you're going to hear that throughout the entire ride, just in different pitches and tones and speeds and all that kind of stuff. So pay attention to that next time you ride in the Haunted Mansion. You're going to hear the same song, and you can see how different it is throughout the attraction. Second honorable mention, Peter Pan's Flight. It's one of my favorites, especially for nostalgia. That being said, it's one that typically has a crazy long wait, like at least 45 minutes. So that's one I like to tell folks to either rope drop, or if you're buying the lightning lanes, to go ahead and get that. The reason is not that it's quote-unquote super popular, because it is, but that's one of the ones that has one of the lower guest per hour rate, comparatively speaking to some of these other attractions. So it gets a long wait. So that's one that I like to either, again, like I said, rope drop or use the multi-pass for. And finally, I mentioned it a little bit when we were talking about the People Mover, is Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. No height requirement for that. It's an interactive shooter game that you're trying to defeat the evil Emperor Zurg. You're going to shoot different targets and try to get to the Galactic Hero level. If you've ever ridden Toy Story Mania, it's similar to that. It's, you're kind of shooting stuff. No 3D glasses or anything like that. No height requirements. So again, really good for the entire family. So I think that's going to put a wrap up on this episode of Fantasyland Adventures. I appreciate y'all coming in, tuning in, hanging out, watching the video. If you're thinking about booking a trip to Disney or Universal, reach out through the link in the show notes, and I'd love to help you plan that vacation. Again, if you check out for Disney destinations before September 27th of 2025, so just a few more weeks, We're going to throw in some extra spending cash, and for Universal, the same thing, except for checkout before the end of the year. So until next time, I hope you all have a fantastic, magical day, and we'll see you real soon.